So what are we going to talk about in this video? Today we're going to talk about good old brick, a staple of any triathlete training plan or workout schedule. And we're going to run through what exactly is a brick if you're kind of in the beginner stage, and kind of why you should be doing bricks in your routine, and the kind of the secret sauce of my training plans and training plans for my athletes out there. So nothing better than a good old brick. If you've not done a brick before, what is a brick? It's typically a ride followed by a run, but it could be a mixture of any kind of workouts. You could do a swim and then go right into a run. You could do a bike into a swim, a run into a swim, swim into a bike, however you want to work it. But more typically and more often than not, this is going to be a bike ride followed by a run that most basically best mimics the race scenario and race situation you're going to encounter when you're out there, especially, and we'll get into it later. It's going to be the bread and butter of how you get yourself ready to go out there and handle the fatigue that comes with riding a bike for any distance and then coming off and then trying to do a run. If you wait till race day to actually try to do that in one complete session and not taking any breaks between, it could be kind of an eye-opening experience for you. It could basically feel like your legs are full of lead when you're trying to run out there. So like I said, I promote doing bricks at least one a week. I look to give my athletes probably, hopefully, 2 a week. There's specifically opportunities when maybe you do a bike ride, and if you've got access to maybe your pain cave, you got your treadmill, or the weather's nice, just to hop off and do a 1 or 2 mile run real quick, just to get the legs kind of fresh, to keep it a little bit peppy, just so you're not extremely lethargic, and you get your legs used to kind of doing runs over time. And we're going to get into a little bit more, but that's kind of how I also sneak in miles for running during the week, because everybody wants to get their mileage up, they're running, but if you're making runs longer, or if you're adding more runs per week, standalone runs, it gets kind of cumbersome to pack it all in there. But if you're already on your bike, you're already sweaty, you're already gross, and you've got 10-15 minutes, you can spend a little bit of time doing a little bit of run. It's nothing strenuous, you're not going out there and killing yourself, it's not a threshold, but it's a nice little way to sneak in 1 or 2 miles extra per day that maybe you don't have a standalone run. So, like I said, it's a quality session to know how your legs will feel coming off a bike. Because like I said, if you don't do it before race day, it's a very unique experience coming off that bike and using different muscle groups in the legs when you're coming off of there. And if you're not ready for it, you're not used to it, it could be very eye-opening, or it could be a very uncomfortable scenario when you're trying to get that run done. Work on effort pacing and not burn all the energy in the first few miles. So especially when you're getting into longer brick workouts, so if you on the weekends you go for your long ride, it's a 2-hour ride, and you've got a 30-45 minute brick run attached to that, it gives you an opportunity to kind of work on that pacing, because you don't want to just come out firing all cylinders when you're coming off the bike. You want to work up into it. Those first 2 to 3 miles is very key to find a nice comfortable pace you can settle into. You don't want to just burn all the energy in the front and then end up walking potentially in the race towards the end because you didn't pace yourself right. So it gives you opportunities to work on your pacing coming off the bike. Work on keeping good economy and form first before any speed. So when you're coming off a bike, you're going to be fatigued, and your body's not going to be in the optimal position to hold form like you would on a standalone run. If you're doing the first thing or first workout of the day, usually you can hold your form a lot better. You're rested and you're ready to run. But when you come off that bike, you're a little bit tired. You've been kind of bent over on your bike. So it helps you kind of work on that form, know where your body's at. I've done plenty of videos about run form. So this is the situation. Throw kind of pace out the window. Don't put any kind of intensity to it, but work on form. Work on that turnover. Work on the forward lean, helping gravity do the work for you instead of making your muscles work harder, especially when you just got off the bike. So focus on good economy and good run form. Great way to sneak on some quality miles on the bike-only days. Tack on 2 to 3 miles, run right after, doesn't hinder recovery, secret sauce. So that's what I kind of alluded to. It's a great way to add a little bit more mileage, and especially get your body used and acclimated to coming off the bike and doing the run. And also, like I said, you sneak in a couple of extra miles. You do 2 standalone bike rides per week, and then you tack on 2-3 miles per each one. So you've got 6 more miles that you've added onto your week, and it's really not that impactful. Once you start getting into 45 minutes to an hour of a brick work after a ride, then you're kind of impacting your recovery. But the secret sauce is those 2 to 3 mile runs right after you've done a bike ride, if you've got the time. And especially It ups efficiency with time if the brick is an easy workout. So you don't have to change clothes. You don't have to clean off and then later in the day put on workout clothes again. Shortens down your cool down time from your activity because you're going straight into another activity, so you don't really need to cool down. You don't need to warm up for the next activity. So you could potentially cut out 10 or 15 minutes of workout time by going from a bike to your run and doing that transition like that. So, if you think you want to sneak in a few 2 or 3 extra miles, you may be adding on 30, 45 minutes extra to your day that you may not have time to mess with because you've got to get changed, get dressed, get ready, hopefully do a nice little warm-up, do a dynamic warm-up, then do your run, and then do a cool down, and then clean up afterwards. Well, if you compress that by doing it at the end of your bike ride, or if you're doing a run and then a bike ride, you don't have to change clothes, you don't have to clean up in between, you don't have to get dressed again, you don't have to do anything, just go out and do it. So the economy is not just in your aerobic system and your fitness, it's also economy in time, because you're already gross, you're already sweaty, might as well go out and do it anyway. And especially if you've got 2 workouts in one day, you've got a bike and a run. And usually for my athletes, I try not to do 2 hard bikes and runs in one day. So hopefully it's maybe an easy bike and a hard run, or it's going to be a hard bike and an easy run. So you flip-flop whichever has the intensity. But you go out there, with an hour bike, and if you manage it, if you've got the time, do the hour bike and then do an hour run. But maybe you can shorten it to 45 minutes because you don't have to do a warm-up. You don't have to do a cool down necessarily for the bike. So the ways to work around it, and it's a great addition to your efficiency, is also as well as the secret sauce of adding extra run miles in during the week that your body doesn't necessarily see as that much more taxing to the system. So you don't need extra recovery necessarily, and you're not setting yourself up for over fatigue and for injury and that type of thing. And the last one is I try to get the athletes to work on the terrain that mimic your courses. So if you got a hilly course, don't go out and do an easy run necessarily just on a flat area because you come off that bike, and if you've got a bunch of hills on race day, but you've been training bricks going onto a nice, easy, level area, that could be kind of, a wake-up call too when you get out there and do your race. You're just like, I'm just not ready to do hills coming off the bike. So make sure you're mimicking the terrain that you're going to race in. So that's going to be key too. So we've hit all my bullet points. I didn't want to drag on too much about it, make it short and sweet, but doing a good old brick workout, it's key. Like I said, long bike days. I love to see athletes do 2 miles kind of when you're starting out, and then get up maybe to 30, 45 minutes, maybe an hour on your brick run afterwards. And like I said, super easy. You're not out there killing yourself, not high intensity. And it's perfect too if it's kind of later in the morning or later in the day and it heats up a little bit. You get a little bit of heat acclimation. You also test your hydration and nutrition on your bike. Can you make that 45-minute run afterwards? If you can't, you're going to have to go back to the drawing board and make sure you're ready to do that. But it's also a great way to sneak in or compress or, do workouts the same amount of work in less time because you can bunch workouts together. Like I said, you need to make sure it's not 2 high-intensity workouts next to each other. So it's a hard bike, easy run, hard run, easy bike, or if it's a swim and a run, swim and a bike, then maybe you can do the bike or the run pretty intense. So there's tons of ways that you can use it in your training and kind of manipulate your time and make time out of nowhere because you're cutting out warm-ups, you're cutting out cool-downs, you're cutting out changing clothes, you're cutting out going somewhere or going to a specific area. So, you do your long ride or you do a bike ride in the morning, just hop off 1 or 2 mile run, get it done, change, go do the rest of the day, and you got no problems to worry about. You don't have to do another run to sneak in more miles or anything. So that's my bullet points. If you got any questions, as always, hit me back. Let me know what they are. Put them in the comments. Email me. Do whatever you got to, and I'll be happy to answer any more questions or present on any ideas or topics you guys want to know about. So thanks for watching. We will talk to you next time.